back. Thank you very much for all the comments on the trike build. I'm really quite overwhelmed with some of the things that you guys have been saying. Yeah, there was some key features on this trike that even I wasn't keen on, and those lights, I have to agree, I'm not that happy about them. But I was thinking of the chap's safety. I needed to light him up like a Christmas tree, and I didn't want to put some aftermarket crap on there that was like small stuff. That's for him to deal with if he chooses at a later date. However, I've just been prattling around with it this morning. I took the two covers off the carbs. My mate didn't turn up in the end, so I took them off, and I found water, sludge, green sludge and sand. So I cleaned that all out with carb cleaner, and I also noticed that the floats are a bit worn and they're dangling. Well, when I say dangling, they're sitting a little too high, which is causing it to flood. So, and the other thing I did is whip the baffles out of the exhaust, remove the wadding, because that was, I think that was stopping the engine from breathing, and put the baffles back in minus the wadding, and she sounds a hell of a lot better, and she's running a hell of a lot better. So I am very pleased with this. She's doing everything she's meant to do. Although I have noticed that cylinder, which is the front cylinder, that one's working harder. That seems to be revving more than the front one. So yeah, the carbs need balancing for definite. A little miss from time to time as well. So there you go. That was what I wanted to show you at the end of the last video, but couldn't. So where are we now? Okay, so we've got 3 remaining projects, and you guys are screaming at me for that, and I can't say I blame you. I am itching to get back to it, but we've also got that to finish off. Now I do need that out the front, but it isn't in a position to be put out there yet. I need to get that MOT'd first. So we're going to start concentrating on the MOT work for that old jalopy out there. Mainly all the running gear underneath the front, steering joints and whatnot are just naff. So we'll do that, and then Thursday she's booked in for an MOT, the trike. We'll get that out the front. And then within the next, don't hold me to this for God's sake, please. Don't hold me to it. But over the next 3 to 4 weeks, I will try and get that moved up there, closer to the shed. So we can get this mess cleared up then. Get that mess cleared up. And then we'll get all the other stuff over here sorted. And I'll see if I can't get it a little bit closer to the doorway here, and then what I'll do is I'll pop the windscreen, pull the stereo out. It's a 500 quid stereo in that, very expensive, and we'll start measuring up, because what I do need to do to this is I need all of this metalwork here removed. I want that gone. I have another bonnet to put on it, which is here. That's off an earlier Rover of some description. I couldn't tell you, I've forgotten what it's called. I've been nagging the scrapyard to get me a fuel tank out of an old Range Rover, but it hasn't been, nothing's come of it yet. And the other thing I want to do, I want to get rid of these bulbs. Don't like them. Problem is all the hinge systems on them. So I want to radically change the whole approach of this, because it isn't working for me, that's for sure. So I'd like to get rid of them, cut them straight down there, make up some new doors, try and utilise all the door stuff that's here, but get rid of that skin, make up a new frame, put a new skin over the top with Land Rover style hinges and possibly a new handle as well. Kind of where my head was going with this. And I was going to cut the roof out so it's open top with a canvas over the top, we were going to get rid of this bucket at the back because I don't like it. It's horrible. When I built it, I thought I'm making a mistake here. I'm not planning on keeping it because it's the problem with it is there's jagged edges everywhere on those wheel archy things. So I'm thinking about dropping that. And the front, I'm not quite sure which direction we're going. We want that big bonnet on, so we've got no Morris Minor bulb on there whatsoever, and I'm either going to put pickup style, I can't remember, the Ford F something, I don't know, I can't explain it. Basically I'm just going to fill in those edges there, and then I'm either going to put a wing on, homemade wing, that covers the whole wheel and goes right low to the ground all the way across, and then build onto the back. So we'll build onto that section of the cab and then bolt it to the chassis, and then bring it as low as I can get it so it looks low, or we'll go Army Jeep style on the front. That's basically the same nose that we spoke about, bulb's gone, and then some wings that overhang, just lights in the wings, so that'll go flat across to there and then goes down to there, but as it goes down it will come in. That's kind of where my head has gone with it, but that's a few weeks away yet before we do anything. The engine's seized up, then the project's over. It's been sitting there way too long. The last engine I left in there, like the way I've done, water got in it, destroyed it, and I don't know what state that engine's in at the moment. So that's that. Meanwhile, I've got some work to do on the cab. Right, I'm going to do a quick assessment on this thing. Been a while. One of my main concerns was water getting in the carburetors while it was sitting, and it's been sitting there a good year, and I'm a bit worried about this engine being locked. That's what happened with the last one. Well, it does seem to be free, but not brilliant. What I'll do is I'll take the spark plugs out at some point, spray some WD-40 down the barrels just to lubricate the rings up. Once I've done that, I'll spin it over a couple of times, hope that nothing's jammed up inside. A friend of mine around the corner has been playing around with one of these 3.5s that sat for about 2 years during the lockdown, and he got in it, turned the engine over and bent half a ton of connecting rods. Because something was jammed up inside the head. So again, we need to be cautious if we're going to be moving this up the top of the garden. We need it to be right, because I don't want this thing breaking halfway. I'll never get it shifted otherwise. What are we going to do with this? That's the question, isn't it? What are we going to do with it? because I don't know. I know I have a rough idea what I want to do to it, but I don't think the V8 is the right engine for this. I don't know. Right, well, you know that was put in on one of the previous videos, so we'll put that on. This bloody thing. Right, it's been a few weeks now since I properly started this up. It's a cold day as well, so this will be even more interesting when I get the right key. Not that one. That one, there you go. Well, the problems with this thing haven't gone away, I might like to add. Now there's a bigger stoplight that comes up somewhere on here, and I can't remember, I think it's in there. And that's the air system stoplight. We've also got no indicator light. I can tell you the indicators are working, but there's nothing going on up there. But she's on the ready button, mate, I'll tell you. Didn't used to be. That was a pain, but since I put that isolator switch in place, this tacho has now stopped draining everything. But the problem with that is when I put a stereo in here, if I'm not regularly using the lorry, their batteries are going to not keep the system going, if you see what I'm saying. So yeah. And the only reason I know that the air brakes are active is because I was able to shut it down. If the air gets below that white line there, memory serves, this engine doesn't shut down, it will keep on going. I need that stoplight, I need those indicators. So what I'm thinking of doing is tipping the cab at a later date, and I'm thinking about pulling this out completely because I think that's what's shot. But if it's the wiring going down to everything, to all the sensors, then fine. We'll never trace them. I don't have a wiring diagram. Every wire's white. Most of the numbers and letters are rubbed off anyway. So what I'm thinking of doing is making up a whole new dash. I may very well take all this off and put as much wood veneer over everything to get it more motorhomey feel where I can. I'm going to have to make a vacuum pump so I can do some airbagging, because obviously I want to cover all of this, all of it, everything in a wood effect. You can't buy it. I haven't been able to find it. If you're a Midland owner and you have found somebody that supplies wood effect dashes, I'd love to hear about it, but I don't think we're going to go down that road. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get a load of aftermarket 24 volt gauges. So I'll get myself a new temperature gauge, fuel gauge, air pressure. I may even look at a rev counter as well, and I will replace as many sensors. I won't even bother cutting wires. I will literally just unplug everything, unplug the dash, leave the loom where it is, because I don't think the engine management is using that. This still starts without that plugged in, and I will then put my own sender units where I can on various locations of the engine. So we'll put an oil light and oil pressure switch, and I might even go as far as an oil temperature as well, with an adapter on the oil system. The air system, if I can plug into that existing one, then I will. Yeah, there's loads to do, loads and loads and loads to do. So once we've got that negotiated, I'm then going to move underneath the lorry. I'm going to start pulling off all of the knackered components that are under there, and there's a lot, and I am not joking. Hello, noisy coming back. Right, I want to give you an example of what it is I've got to change, if I can get the camera under there. Look at the state of that. That's just one. There's another one. They're all gone. Just about every single one of the rubbers that you can see, even the shock tops are gone, everything. So we've got to get underneath this. Need to change the tyres. The main air pump has a leak in it on the pipe that I'm aware of, but I've done all the others. I'm quite content with the others. I did change the back tyres, but because it's been sitting for so long, I've now got cracks appearing in the back tyres, as you can see down here, look. So I've now got to pay for new tyres, and they're not going to be cheap. There ain't any at the scrap yards because they're just not selling them. So yeah, we've got our work cut out. Right, an announcement. Where are we heading? That's quite simple now. Me, the wife, we sat down, we've had a long chat, and first thing I'm doing is going to get the CBT out of the way so we can get this piece of lovely Japanese stuff on the road. Alright, 100 miles to a gallon apparently these things do, these C70s. So this isn't going to be the next project to get it MOT'd and taxed and insured, and my license for the CBT side of it done. After that, I'm going to get the theory bit done that this poxy government insists that we do. Now that might take me 2 attempts, might take me 5, I don't know, but they're 50 quid a shot. That's the downside. Once I've got that out of the way, I'm then going to apply to do the test itself. So I'll book up some lessons. What I'm basically saying is I'm going to have a bash at doing the bike test because I want to get this on the road. But what I also want to do and get on the road, remember the trike, the deal. This is what we have done a deal for. It is a Victory Vegas, 1700 odd cc's, 106 cubic inches of V-twin muscle. It's in a bit of a sad state because I sat in the garden for a couple of years doing nothing. I've got aluminium reactant powder coat peeling, so I've got a little bit of a resto to do. We've got really sour fuel in there that's got to be pulled out because it ain't going to do the injectors any good. And to be honest with you, I want to do a complete respray. I will pull this out at some point. I can't pull it out at the moment because I've managed to break the lock, so I can't get the door, and this thing is a heavy old beastie at the best of times, and I will pull it out and I'll give it a fire up and you'll get to see. But this is the project that I was referring to that nobody knows about. Now the deal isn't fully done yet, but I have had a chat with him today and he says, no mate, you announce it, the deal as far as he's concerned is done. I said the only thing that can really foul it up is DVLA being awkward. That's our driving agency for you Americans and the Canadians. They're a right pain in the arse, trust me. If they were a business they would have gone bust a long time ago. They are so disorganised, and they just put in bullshit legislation. For example, the trike's got to be taxed. That's a road fund for you and anybody else. For the vehicle to be on the road, you have to have a road fund to put a vehicle on the road. But here's the thing, when I apply for the logbook to be switched over, that's the keeper's book, they're telling me I can't ride it until the book comes back with trike written on it. So it's got to go from motorcycle to trike. And I don't see why I'm having to pay a road fund when I'm not actually legally allowed to touch the damn thing. So this is an example of how weird our system is over here. But anyway, that is project number 1. But this does not get touched until I have passed my test. In the meanwhile, this is going to get stripped down and it's going to get a whole new coat of paint because it's the wrong tone. It needs to be that tone. So that's going to get painted in a metallic of that colour, and I'll get a few side panels sorted out. I've got a mudguard. So that's job number 1. But the main project that I'm going to keep will not be the truck. £2 a litre for fuel, that's a lot of money. I'm outpriced on that at the moment. What I'm actually thinking about doing is just putting that on hold for a little while longer. I'll do the odd little job here and there. If I can get ball joints and stuff like that for the steering, I will jack it up. I haven't actually got the tools to do that at the moment anyway, which is the other reason why I'm putting it on hold. In the meanwhile, if somebody came forward with a decent amount of money, I'd probably let it go at this point in time. But if the fuel prices come down, which they might, you never know, then we'll pick it up again and we'll continue. Firstly though, I need to get the moped on the road. We've got the Victory to sort out and one other. Okay, the one other. a couple of you were asking me in the comments section about the Moggy. So I think what we'll do, because I need this out of the way, this needs to be moved. This needs to be moved and it needs to be fixed. So what we're going to do eventually, when we spoke about this earlier, we're going to move it up the top of the garden, right where those wheels are. So we'll move it up here in this position, right here, the back. We're going to rip all of this muck off. We're going to get rid of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down Scrappers. I'm going to look for a van. I'm going to try and cut the rear framework off the back doors, so where the door posts connect to, I don't know the name of that part, but I'll see if I can cut around all the seam areas. We'll take that off, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run metal across here, make up the floor, and then we will put that framework on at the back. So the door will be here, and then we will purchase some aluminium at some point, and we'll skin the roof, all the walls in alley. The front, we've got this bonnet. So what I plan to do with the front, you can see I've been chipping away at the filler. I welded this piece on to the existing, and I'm assuming it's called a valance. I'm not actually sure, not a valance, scuttle. So I'm going to order a new scuttle. So I'm going to cut that one out completely. I'm going to weld a new one in there. I'm going to get rid of all this metal with a plasma cutter. I'm going to get rid of that. We spoke about this earlier actually. And I'm going to cut this bulge out here, take the doors off, throw those away for the time being, take the window out, take the stereo out, and then we're going to rebuild that whole area. That bonnet we spoke about, we're going to narrow the window area of that bonnet so it's smaller, so it's just long. Then we'll mount it onto that scuttle and we'll bring it down to about here, so it's got the looks of what are those damn things called, American military trucks have got. Oshkosh. Yeah, those Oshkosh lorries. So it's going to have a front that looks similar to that, and then we'll put some wings out that look like Jeep style wings. That look like Jeep style wings that will go flat and then go down at an angle. And that, my friends, is pretty much what we're doing. So the truck goes on hold, the rat rod goes up the top of the garden, the bike test gets applied for, and that's all I'm concentrating on. I'll do a few little bits to the lorry from time to time, so there'll be a little update now and again, because you remember I put the rat rod on hold and I went onto the lorry. Well, now we're going to put the lorry on hold and we're going to go back to the rat rod. Do I want to keep the Rover V8? Yes, I do. No, I don't. If I get rid of the lorry and I decide I need a camp van, this might very well get converted to a camper, but the prices of fuel are stupid at the moment. I may very well put a diesel in it, because I think I can get close to 30 litre gallon, like 25-30 litre gallon, round about that. That would make more sense to me. So guys, that is it. That's the future. That's the best I can come up with at the moment. So with that in mind, I would like to say thank you very much for all the likes and the comments that you gave me on the previous video. Very much appreciated. My confidence is feeling quite strong at the moment, sort of. So I'll see you on the next episode, which will be coming up very soon. Bye.